When we are open and centered in our deepest hearts, we move through life, through anything, when everything is harmonious, ever loving and accepting. You flow through life. When something rises, this is called a standing wave. A wave of that flow which became stuck. So the wave of energy fabric, it blocks. It becomes a standing wave. That standing wave has a bundle of energy streams connected, creating that story. Any form of story which comes to us in our reality. Yes, they indicate that something is not flowing in its highest. So the story is an indicator, and that's all it really is. It indicates what needs to be harmonious again. And yes, you can see this as part of a healing process. But when it comes to the selfless self, when it comes to you to realize your nature, it has nothing to do with healing. Although those standing waves, which we call stories, they can also be blocking to realize your nature. But the only reason for that is because of the holding on some degree, on some level inside of you. Holding on some level inside of you, justifying that wound on a deep level. On a deep level, there is some form of justification, investment to that wound. And that is the only reason that wound still appears. So if you are able to see that wound, that story as an indicator, yes, healing, and yes, losing inner control, yes, surrendering, yes, embracing, enveloping all of that from your highest can help to dismantle that. But if you shift your focus into that which is always here, always radiant, always ever so loving, ever so bright, illuminating those standing waves, you come to realize that the healing, of course, is important, but knowing, realizing your true nature is much more important than that. So what I see, even within the healing world, that everyone speaks about, there is some deep attachments there, investments of not fully letting go of that wound. So here is where you can find a balance. Because the wounds you already know. You know your wounds already. They might keep coming up. You might keep healing them on a deeper level. But if you shift your focus onto the self, onto who you truly are, and you give all of you to that story and wound won't matter so much. And by you standing, so to speak, as that selfless, loving awareness, from here, healing happens in a very, very deep way. The real healing is the disidentification with the victimhood consciousness. And that disidentification is those attachments that we continuously keep plugging ourselves into, continuing investing into. That. Very soon you realize that all of this is unnecessary. It's not needed anymore. You can simply unplug those wires into your highest, into your heart. So when you have a wound, for example, in your hand, you don't continue digging into that wound to try and heal it. You let it go. You let it heal. You let it be. And it naturally heals because you unplug from that wound and you plug yourself into your selflessness and see for yourself what happens. Of course, some energies, they revisit us and they can fully take over. That it's how it goes. It's how it happens. But it's not about you falling down or losing yourself back into those stories. It's about how fast you can remember and come back to your close, most truthful self. So this is a process within itself. If you can be that selfless, loving awareness and strengthen here, you will see that these strands of lower energies that hold you down will start detaching, because you're not investing there anymore. You're investing in your highest. So in these times, we are coming to realize that even a certain amount of healing can be enough. It is only the stickiness of the mind that goes back into those wounds, because something deep inside dislikes that, and something deep inside still identifies with that. But the moment that this identification happens and you simply see it as an energy, a form of pain or suffering, and you stand in that selflessness that gives you a wider, a bigger opportunity to free that energy. And you can only free the energy by standing in that light of awareness, becoming more and more aware and more ever accepting of these energies. And so removing the story, which is always connected with the personality and with the person, and is very personal, this creates much more pain and suffering, which is unnecessary. We do not need to continue suffering. We don't need that anymore. We can instantly shift. We have that strength, we have that power within us, only if we choose to become selfless. The selflessness, in my direct experience, has really helped so much to detach the strings that bind and hold these lower energies. These wounds, they are held by us. And when we flip into selflessness, into loving awareness, there's a flip within that. And you detach those strings that hold you literally. They hold you down literally. And it's unnecessary. It's not needed anymore. Not needed. So watch out for any justifications deep down. justifying something, because on a dual perspective, pain, the opposite of pain is pleasure. Yeah. So these two are the same coin. Pain and pleasure is the same. And on a very deep level, we hold these stories, these bonds, these streams of bundles of energies, because there is something deep that even feels somehow satisfied. It gives some form of satisfaction, this justification. But it's very subtle. It can be very, very deep. But you can trace anything back. You can trace anything back to unhook it, but you don't need to dig into it. You simply need to walk away from it. And by walking away from it, I don't mean running away from it, or ignoring it. But it's like stepping out of that river. And that's how you can become free of that energy. And you're freeing that energy itself just by illuminating, just by perforating this light of awareness, ever loving. Yes, which is it's an unconditional acceptance. Unconditional acceptance. And you even sense it. You start releasing these bondages. So focus and shift always in your highest, because from your highest you have all the strength and brightness and love and light to work with. And you don't need to continuously keep plugging into those wounds of the past.